Hello everyone, we're sitting right here right now with Mr. Frank Spotnitz, and he's joining us from London, and we're going to talk today a little bit about his hit new TV show, Hunted. Hello Frank.
Hello.
So, we've been hearing a lot about Hunted on Twitter, on basic internet, Facebook, on Cinemax, on the street. And we want to know what's Hunted from Frank Spotnitz. Tell us, what's Hunted in a nutshell?
Well, before I answer, can I just introduce, I brought along a friend.
Oh! That's fantastic. I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to scream right now.
He just wanted to say hello before it got too serious. So
he was talking. He was prompting people. We talked to him a couple of nights ago. He was, telling us about how he was really excited about this whole thing.
I saw that. That's what made me think I had to bring him to this today. So
he snuck in your computer, and that's what happens.
Yeah. So what is Hunted? Hunted is a paranoid action spy thriller, and it's 8 episodes, 8 one-hour episodes. So it's longer than most shows you see on American television, because it truly is. It's 58 minutes long. That makes a big difference. It's not the 44, 45 minutes you're used to watching. And it's one story that spreads over those 8 hours and comes to an end. There's obviously room for the story to continue in subsequent years, if there are other years. But there's one undercover operation that begins in episode 1 and comes to an end in episode 8.
Are you thinking of doing this sort of in the ways of, say, American Horror Story, that the first season was in the house and now second season is at the asylum? Is sort of in that fashion?
Well, not exactly, because there's going to be a core set of characters that would continue. Obviously, Sam continues, and she works at Byzantium, this private security firm, and so the characters there who would continue from year to year. But everything else can change. The investigations, the cities where the stories take place, all of that is up for grabs.
And we just learned that, not to spoil a lot about it, that second season would take place in Berlin. Is that accurate? Is that too much of a spoiler? What's going on with that?
It's not decided. It's one of the places I'm really interested in, but it's not decided yet. So I can't say that at this moment.
And in that regard, since you now are in London, and part of the whole thing with the show is that a lot of it was shot on location, if not everything.
Yes.
How do you think that this filming in location all the time, or on location all the time, it's an asset to the show? How did it make it different?
I think, first, it just makes it look better. I mean, if you're shooting in the real world instead of on sound stages, you know this. It's like you get so much production value. It's just visually so much more exciting. And then I think, aside from that, just as a storytelling thing, it gives it the texture of real life. It just feels more authentic because you're seeing the real world all around you. It's a lot more expensive. It's a lot more time-consuming. But for me, especially as an American, on the wrong side of the world, it was really exciting to be able to take advantage of all these amazing locations.
Do you have a remarkable story from scouting the locations or shooting in the places where you went to?
Oh, well, I mean, it's endless. First of all, going to Morocco, I'd never been anywhere in Africa or North Africa before, and that was another world. It's the first Arab country I'd ever been to. And you see the poverty, but then you see the beauty and the kindness of the people. That was an amazing, life-changing experience, really. And then we went to Scotland, which is incredibly beautiful, and it was just heather, purple heather as far as the eye could see, and these rolling hills. And the character name, there's a house where Sam goes, and we see this family name Morton. It's not her last name. It's a clue that will make sense much later.
Okay.
And it turned out that the owners of the property, that was their real name, Morton.
Oh, wow.
So it was amazing.
That's great.
Coincidence, yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
then just shooting all over London. We got to shoot, in Regent's Park. We got to shoot in some really, really rough neighborhoods. And I think if you're from England, in a way, it's actually even more remarkable because you rarely see London shot the way we shot it. You really do see what the city looks like. So it was a real thrill.
And I think that that look from the locations it plays through so like you said, respectfully, especially with things and polemics that are coming up right now, such as like Argo, that the Lebanese are complaining that it's not being portrayed. And I thought Tangiers was very well handled, considering how usually it's portrayed in many other places. Now, I'm really curious because lately, in the last couple of years, or probably the last part of, I guess, this couple of years, yeah. There's been a lot of shows that are based on female characters, whether they're flawed or not, whether they're heroes or not. The female lead, it seems to be the common thread. Do you think that you could have written Sam Hunter to be a guy, or did it have to be a girl?
No, I could have done it as a guy for sure. I think the show would basically work for a guy as well. I just think it's a lot more interesting making it a woman. Obviously, we got the added horror of having her be pregnant when you get shot at the beginning. But aside from that, I think just being a woman in a man's world, which it still is, sad to say, makes her automatically an underdog, and gives it all these complexities that you don't even need to articulate. They're just there automatically when you cast a woman in that position. But I would also say, you're right, there have been a number of shows with female leads now, but to my mind, there still aren't enough. I mean, it's still, a small percentage, way more shows are with men. And one of the things that struck me as I was casting this show was how many amazing actresses there are out there that have nothing to do. I mean, really, their movie roles for women, by and large, stink. I mean, they are girlfriends and wives, and they are not fully realized characters. And then, yeah, there are a handful of good female parts on television right now, but there still aren't enough. So as far as I'm concerned, people ought to write more.
Yeah, because even at Homeland, Claire Danes is paired up with a very strong male lead, and they're kind of on the same level. I want to look at Claire as the driver of that show, but at the same time, she's not really. She's part of that team that's creating the whole havoc. And I was curious because then you have the shows that are the female lead centric, and then you have also a new trend that has come with Dexter and has come even with Californication, that now, while, Sam Hunter's quest is commendable and she wants to find the truth, who betrayed her, and, she wants to find out who wanted to end her life, but the goal of her team is not really all that honorable, because they're pretty much, not in a very noble mission. They're there for hire. They're receiving whatever it is that they're receiving, and they're not exactly heroes. So is it right? Is it hard to write for those characters when it's not a clear picture who's the good guy and who's the bad guy?
Yeah, I think it creates all kinds of challenges. I mean, the reason to do it, I think, is because it really is the world we're living in right now. So much of the world we're in right now has been privatized. A lot of stuff that used to be government is now in the hands of private interests, and I think they are more powerful than most people realize, the big corporations and all these private interests. And, they write the laws in many instances, and if they can't get the laws they want in a certain country, they'll go to another country and operate over there. So I thought it was just a really timely, interesting area. It gave me something new to say in this genre, because there have been so many spy shows in the past, but I haven't seen a spy show about people in private security. And if you're trying to do paranoia, the fact that you don't know who you're working for, whether you're a good guy or a bad guy, creates a lot of exciting opportunities. But it does become an issue that I had to think about a lot, which is, why do I care? Why do I root for these people if they're not necessarily good? And I think the answer is, well, I don't know whether they're working for good guys or bad guys, whether their mission should succeed or not, but I care about these people in this situation. And that was the strategy that I employed, which was, first caring about Sam and her situation, and then as the episodes progress, you're going to learn more and more about all the other members on the team. I mean, episode 1, counter to the way most pilots are written, you know almost nothing about the other characters. Mm. And then episode 2, like another layer of the onion gets peeled back. In episode 3, another. In episode 4, by episode 5, you have a pretty good sense of who all these people are. And that's counterintuitive and not the way television is usually done. But I felt it was the right way to go about this show, and it made it feel less sentimental, less sort of stooping to get the audience to like you, please like me. I thought it was more honest as a storytelling strategy. And we'll see if it works, but that's what I had in my head.
And in that regard, you've already been on the BBC for 3 episodes worth, and Cinemax you premiered on Friday. What has been the reception on London or the UK, and then now, hopefully, what do you think is going to be the reception here?
We've gotten some great reviews in the UK. We've gotten some not great reviews. The ratings have been really good. Your heart stops when you get the ratings, because the next day you get the overnights that don't include any DVR, any delayed viewing whatsoever. And on this show, I think because of the age of the audience and because it's on Thursday night, that's a huge percentage.
Yeah.
So like episode 2, when we got the DVR figures, it shot up by 32%, the number of people who'd been watching the show. Wow. So it's a huge part of the audience. But no, I think it's going really well. And I don't know what the ratings have been for episode 1 on Cinemax, but the critics have been really good. There's a lot of people that love the show who've gotten it immediately, which is, I was prepared for nobody to get it, or very few people to get it, because it's not one of those shows that, to my mind, is instantly like what you've seen before. And I think the first instinct, a lot of people, critics more than audiences, honestly, is to try and find something to compare it to. Well, what's this like? What's this like? And does it measure up to that? And when you're trying to do something that's out of the norm, it takes people a little while to catch on. So I'm really excited to see how the audience reaction evolves in the next few weeks.